Hello everyone. So this is the continuity of the last video where we were looking into the session ID thing. So once your user authentication is verified using this session ID, then obviously using your username or user ID or whatever, since because you have this table, right? Whatever, then your request will be analyzed. Okay, then okay, your authorized person, your role will be accepted. Okay, admin or user who can uh, see the photos, get the photos, and the photos will be accessed from another table from the database, and it will be returned back to you. Okay, so that means you only gave your username and password, then no matter how many requests you are sending, you are always sending your session ID. Then your session ID will be validated here, and your role or other things may be validated from this table. Okay, and then the respective get or delete or post table will be accessed from the database, and the data will be returned, or you can edit something, right? Or you can either modify the data, okay, every time. So you can send any number of okay, I'll type this as photo. Okay, you can send any number of photos, any number of requests continuously after this until you log out, or until up to a particular time, until that session ID expires. So you can send another request, again session ID you can send along with the request, and Google will verify, and or the server will verify and return you the data. So see, we have sorted out the problem that we don't have to give the username and password again and again. So the user experience will be amazing. User doesn't know what happens in the background, but still it is safe because this authorization is happening perfect with the session ID. Okay, so now there may be a small issue. Why? That explains why we need a JWT token based authentication. Okay, let's say, okay, the system works like this. Okay, the system that works like this, everything is fine. Now let's say we have an issue. Okay, we can edit here. Okay, right. Okay, let's say this Google or the company or server, this whoever this service provider has another server. Okay, for example, you can think like this. Okay, let's say I have what shall I say? Okay, let's say I have a grocery. Okay, I have grocery where I sell not grocery is not nice. Or let's say okay, I have a school. Okay, where I have a separate server for students. I have students are there. Students are the clients. Let's say I have a server for the students' subjects. Okay, for particular students, what kind of subjects he has to follow. Okay, what kind of subjects under his curriculums. And I also have another server in that particular school, anyway, school domain or whatever, that says student, that has students marks for every year from the first year he came until he leaves. Every year marks are stored here. Okay, so he can look into the marks, so he can request for a recorrection, things like that. So this is another server I have, server 2. Okay, so let's say the student now logs in to this server. Okay, using his username and password. So I will use a different color. Which color? Okay, purple. Okay, using his username and password, the student logs into the server and he accesses his subjects. Okay, so he gets a session ID and he's trying to see his subject for the first year, and he's getting them because he's verified here, and he's getting those data. And again he's trying to change another subject, another choice, and if he so again he comes with the session ID and he can verify, and the particular table can be edited, or another data can be retrieved by him. Everything is fine. Now there's a, let's say in that web page there's an option to go and see his marks as well. He wants to see his last year marks of the exams. Okay, but that is running in a separate server. Now if he goes with the session ID here, he may not be able to be verified again, because the session ID verification table is here, right, in this server. Okay, so if he wants to go to this server again, he has to give his username and password, and there is a table for that username and password verification. There should be a table, and things like that has to be happening. Okay, if we have 30 separate servers, every time he clicks, maybe we have UIs for, let's say we have another UI to see the student's personal details. Okay, edit it, and that if the student clicks that in that same UI, let's say if it is running in another server, again he has to log in, because the session ID will not work with that server, because that is stored in here only, in the first server only. Okay, that kind of thing can happen, right? And the user, that means that particular table and the user data, everything has to be stored. Everything is stored in this table only. So if you want to make it happen with every server, and if you don't want him to give username and password every time when he logs into every server, what you can do is, this table, this data, session ID and the user data, should be saved in every server, so that the session ID can be verified. Okay, you get this, right? But that is not a nice thing. Okay, so here, to sort this issue out, so what I'm saying is, you have a common UI, right? Common website for the students. From that website he can click and he can see his subjects. That is in one server. He can click another button and he can see his marks. That's in another server. He can click another button and he can see his personal details. That's in another server. So for him, there's one UI. But backend, let's say we have 3 different servers. So once he gets login and gets one session ID token from this first server, this server, once he click this one, he may have to log in again, because the session ID data is not here. Or in another way, once he clicks and log into the first server and the session ID is given, we have to update every server with the same session ID and the user data here, so that he can be verified every time if he clicks the second server, he will send the session ID, and again that same table should be in the second server and third server, then he can be verified. So that will be also a painful thing. Here comes JWT token to sort out the issues. Okay guys, so let's see how it works in the next video.